Hello, Dragonites. How is everybody doing today? I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. And if you were busily picking up on sales for Black Friday, I hope that went well and, you know, nobody had to murder anybody else while they were shopping. This is our very last WIP and Chat for the Luna and Lycans event that we were doing this month of November. I want to thank each and every one of you for participating. You guys have done beautiful work. I am just ever so impressed. I love it. I love all of the choices of canvas that you chose. I'm so excited to have the final WIP Parade to show all of you. Please make sure that you have your final pick of your canvas posted in the Diamond Painting with Friends 2.0 group. There is now, I hope there's now a space there that says Luna and Lycans event week 4. Please post everything under there. I will be pulling from there as of Monday, so please post everything by tomorrow, which is November 30th, the last day of the month, so that I can work on the WIP Parade for the final WIP Parade to wrap up the event. I will also be putting out this week, early this week, if all things go according to Hoyle, which we'll see. I'll be putting out the kickoff video for Our Better Angels. Have a Fairy happy holiday. So that's all coming. And those canvases and progress pics are going to be in the Dragonites Lair Diamond Painting Facebook group. Okay. All right, everybody. So let's get on with this. I will let you know in advance here that I'm not feeling fantastic. So just bear with me, guys. I mean, we're going to get through it one way or another, but yeah, not one of my better days. So hang in there. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it yesterday, and I honestly just wasn't up to it, guys. So, I thought what we would do, since we have talked ad nauseum about the moons, wolves, etc. For the event, I'm going to kind of combine them, talk a little bit about each one, and we will go from there. Now, before I do that, I wanted to share some friend mail. I got the nicest gift from one of my Dragonites, which I just think is fantastic. Yeah, it was so funny because yesterday I was sitting in my house minding my own business and Amazon came, and I thought, well, that's interesting. I don't think I had anything that I was expecting from Amazon, but as it turned out, I opened this package with this nice note in it. A purple dragon for a dragon lady to watch over you and yours, blessed be, from Mike Weeks. Thank you, Mike. That was so sweet of you to do. What a nice surprise. I just can't even get over it when the Dragonites do something so kind and so nice like this. I just love it. I hate to tell you this, Mike, but it came a little bit crumpled, but I think I have salvaged it for the most part. But yeah, it was crumpled into 4 sections and thrown into an envelope, and you know, Amazon makes me angry when they do that, but what can we do? So anyway, look at this beautiful dragon from Mike. He's gorgeous. Isn't he gorgeous? Look at this. Lots of blue, got some purple in there. So pretty. Thank you, Mike. I am going to enjoy this. There's 20 colors in this little 35 by 35 canvas. So awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, such a nice gesture. Thank you, Mike. And lots of pretty drills to go in there. Lots and lots of pretty drills. This will be a really fun one to do. So, thank you so much, Mike. I wanted just to put that out there. First and foremost, I did receive it and I love it. Thank you very, very much. All right, guys. So, let's talk about where when you look up wolves and moons, what's the first thing that comes out? And this is relevant because we're going to talk about the wolf moon for just a minute. And the wolf moon happens in January. So you can be on the lookout after New Year's. It's the first full moon in January. So let's find out what that's about, shall we? All right, I get some drills here. We'll get going. Hope everybody's holiday was a good one. Hope that if you were with friends or family or both, that you had a really wonderful time. And that you had lots of good food, lots of good company. Talks about Christmas and who's doing what for Christmas, because that usually follows, you know, the conversation of Thanksgiving. So, yeah. As you can see, I'm still working on Moonlight. I'm not going to be finished with her, but pretty close. I mean, I have 2 more rows after I do this section, and then she will be finished. So I'm going to carry her over into December and be working on her while I'm working on my little fairy. So, all right, let's talk a little bit here about the wolf moon. It says, the wolf moon, quote unquote, is a traditional name for the January full moon derived from Native American and colonial beliefs that wolves howled more often during this hungry winter month. However, wolves don't actually howl at the moon. They raise their heads to project their howls farther for communication, such as locating their pack, claiming territory, or for social bonding. This is a common misconception in folklore and mythology, which often associates the moon with werewolves and other mystical or negative powers. The wolf moon and the wolf's howl. I'm going to turn off the fan I have going here just in case it's causing a hum for you guys. Okay. The traditional name wolf moon is a nod to the season when wolves are most vocal. Why wolves howl? Wolves are nocturnal and communicate through howling for various reasons, including finding each other, defending their territory, and bonding within the pack. They do not howl specifically at the moon. So that's a misnomer. So if you thought they were actually howling at the moon, nope, they were not. Okay. Acoustic advantage. Raising their heads helps project the sound further, which is why they may appear to be howling at the moon, but the moon itself is irrelevant to the act. So there you go. If anybody says that isn't true, now you can say, ha, I got news for you. I know why they do it. They do it for acoustic advantage. Ha ha on you. And so there you go. Yes. And if they say, nah, just, you know what? Play this video for them. And they will find out you were correct. Okay. Now then. All right. Let's see. Here's the next section I wanted to read. Okay. All right. What is the connection between the wolf and the moon? So here we get into a little bit of the mythology of it, and a little bit of the folklore. Okay. So, in Norse mythology, the wolves Skull and Hati were associated with the sun and moon, which we talked about in the last WIP and Chat, respectively, both chasing their chosen celestial objects across the sky to usher in day and night. According to some sources, the Seneca believed that wolves were responsible for singing the moon into existence, which is precious, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. It's thought that January's full moon came to be known as the wolf moon because wolves were more likely to be heard howling at this time. It was traditionally believed that wolves howl due to hunger during winter, but we know today that that's not accurate. What does the moon do to wolves? Let's see. Experts have found no connection between wolves and the moon. They're nocturnal creatures, and that's why they are more active at night. So, there you go. All right, now let's talk about some interesting wolf facts. Wolves have 42 teeth, and I think we discussed that in the last video as well, so you probably already knew that. Okay. They have 4 toes and claws in an oval shape. Wolves mate for life. A litter of wolves is usually 4 to 6 pups. Now, if you remember, we learned last time that usually it's only the alpha male and female that are mating. So it's made up of them and their offspring. So when you realize a pack of wolves can range from 2 to over 30 wolves. And if there's 5 or 6 pups per litter, that's a number of litters that each wolf can do. Okay. Pups are born deaf and blind with bright blue eyes. Wolves can run at 36 to 38 miles per hour. Imagine that. I wonder how long they can keep that up, because that's a pretty good sprint if you think about it. Neighborhood driving, you know. So, yeah, that's saying something. Okay. What do moon and wolf signify? Wolves are often associated with the lunar cycle, and some believe that they can help us to connect with the energy of the moon. The wolf totem also encourages us to be social and work together with others toward common goals and harmony. Sounds like a, you know, pretty decent goal, right? So, yeah. Now then. A wolf moon is the name for the first full moon of the year, which occurs in January. The name comes from the Native American tradition of wolves howling during the cold winter months when food was scarce and they might roam closer to human settlements. It can also be known by other names such as the old moon or cold moon. The name is based on the tradition of hearing wolves howl during the January nights, a time when they were most likely to be heard near villages. So the reason they heard them more often in that particular month is because when food was getting scarce and it was still winter time, they had to roam closer. Instead of being way out on the outskirts, they had to come closer into the village, so they were more easily heard. That's the only reason that it's called that. Okay. The wolf moon is the first full moon of the year, and since a full moon cycle is about 29.5 days, it always occurs in January. Let's see. All right. So speaking about wolves a little bit longer, because you know they're fascinating creatures. So you know we need to know as much as we can about them. And then I'll tell you guys a story that was very frustrating to me and made me kind of sad. Okay. What is a wolf's biggest fear? What do you guys think? Do you know what a wolf's biggest fear is? Think of what it might be in your mind, and you can let me know in the comment section if you got it right, what the wolf's biggest fear is. Right? Okay. So, wolves fear humans the most due to centuries of persecution, which has instilled a deep-seated fear for their survival. Other things wolves fear include starvation, illness, and larger predators like bears, though their fear of humans is a primary and powerful one. Recent studies confirm that wolves continue to fear humans and react by fleeing from their sounds. So, way to go, people. We have gone about making them be fearful of us. And I know there are, you know, people who, you know, have farms and whatnot, and they say, well, you know, they come after our livestock. Yeah, they do that because they're hungry. Any creature that has to eat to survive and is running out of resources is going to hunt whatever it can. And if that means that you have livestock or you have a chicken coop or something they can get into, they're going to try. Understanding that, yes, it's a problem for a lot of people that make their living farming animals for food. But at the same time, we hunted them near into extinction. And then when we finally decided, well, maybe that's not a good idea, we're still doing everything we can to scare them away. So we are a natural fear for them. Okay. Okay. Other things wolves fear include starvation, illness, and larger predators like bears, though their fear of humans is primary and powerful one. Recent studies confirm that wolves continue to fear humans and react by fleeing from their sounds. Okay, humans, the survival threat. Centuries of hunting and persecution have made humans a significant perceived threat, causing wolves to avoid them whenever possible. So they want to flee. They don't want to attack unless they're rabid or something of that nature. But typically, if they see you or hear you, even if they're, trying to hunt, they're not going to stick around, especially if they're not with their pack. Packs are kind of a wild card because, especially a hungry pack, because, they're going to go after whatever they can that will be edible. So that can sometimes mean that, yeah, they will attack, especially if they've got the numbers, they will attack people if necessary. They will attack, your pets. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Behavioral impact. The fear of humans forces wolves to be more nocturnal and avoid areas with human presence, even in regions where wolves are making a comeback. A recent study in Poland showed that wolves are more likely to flee and abandon an area when they hear human voices, confirming their fear. So, yeah, we've got them terrified, in case you're wondering. Okay. Let's see here. Other threats, starvation and illness. Like all wild animals, wolves are naturally fearful of anything that threatens their survival, including starvation and illness. Larger predators. Wolves may fear and avoid larger predators such as bears, mountain lions, and wolverines. Other animals like red foxes, bobcats, lynx, and coyotes can also be considered enemies and fearsome to wolves depending on the circumstances. I'm guessing if they might be outnumbered or that kind of thing. Okay. Okay. What is wolf weakness? Which is an interesting question because you don't really think about wolves as being weak or really having a weakness, but they do. So what do you think their weaknesses are or weakness is, if you had to guess? A wolf's weaknesses include their neck and dependence on hunting large prey, which can lead to starvation if prey is scarce. Being solitary is also a significant weakness, as packs are crucial for survival. In folklore, a werewolf's weaknesses include wolfsbane and silver, just in case you run across a werewolf somewhere. Okay. Natural weaknesses. A lone wolf is much weaker and has a harder time hunting, making social structure crucial for survival, according to various discussion groups. Dependence on large prey. Gray wolves must hunt large animals to survive. If these populations decline, they are forced to hunt domestic animals or starve. So that would be why you sometimes will see them coming after your cats, your dogs, your vermin, whatever it is you have. Despite their strength, wolves can be injured or killed by large prey like elk or caribou, which may kick or gore them with antlers. Notes. Kill them with antlers. The neck. A wolf's neck is considered a weak point because it's exposed. Predators. Other large predators such as grizzly bears, black bears, polar bears, and Siberian tigers are capable of killing wolves, though it is often a competition rather than a predatory act. So, let's see. All right. Now, for Native Americans, if the wolf is the spirit animal, the wolf's spirit animal is symbolic of listening to your intuition, seeking freedom, embracing aloneness and togetherness. being loyal and trusting, and having courage and determination to walk your true path. So that's what it means if a wolf is your spirit animal, just so you know. Okay. All right. Key spiritual meanings of the wolf, in case you're wondering. Loyalty and community. The wolf's strong pack mentality signifies the importance of family, strong bonds, and loyalty. It represents the balance between individual autonomy and the strength found in a community. Instinct and intuition. As a symbol of primal knowledge, the wolf reminds you to pay attention to your instincts and trust your inner voice when making decisions. Guidance and teaching. Wolves are seen as wise teachers and pathfinders, respected by many cultures for showing the right way to live and to hunt. They can offer support on challenging journeys and help overcome fear and confusion. Independence and freedom. The wolf also represents the spirit of freedom, resourcefulness, and adaptability. Even under difficult circumstances, it embodies a balance of being part of a whole while retaining your own self. The wolf is a symbol of inner strength and a call to step into your own power with confidence and leadership. The wolf spirit animal can also teach the power of being a detached witness to your own life, watching situations without trying to force an outcome and letting go of the need to be right. Okay. Let's see. Okay. A lot of these facts we've already gone over, you guys, last time, or now we've gone over them this time too. So, let's see. Yeah, that's about all the interesting things that, I could find that combined the wolf and the moon. So, are you going to look for the wolf moon this January when it's supposed to be out? Remember, it's the first full moon in January. That's the wolf moon. I think it would be kind of fun to be able to find that out. Hopefully, the almanacs are already telling us when that will be. And, we can look for it. Just, remember what you learned about it if you do go out and look at it, because you are going to know stuff that other people might not know. You can share it with your family or your friends or whoever's with you, and you'll become very much somebody that they think is the ultimate sage. You're going to be so intellectual, they just won't know what to make of it. So that'd be fun, wouldn't it? So yeah. So when you see the wolf moon in January, just remember what you know about it. And think about wolves next time you're out and about. Try not to just, eliminate them when you see them. Again, their fear of humans is pretty well set now. We made sure of that. So, if you see them and you want them to go away and you have firearms or something and you shoot in the sky, that should do it. They should run. They don't want any part of that. So, yeah. So the story I was talking about earlier. So we had a college student that was renting a room from us for a few years. And she was from Idaho. And she was mentioning that they had such a time, with the farmers and them taking care of, killing off the wild animals and the livestock and the domestic animals, that they basically hunted them. They made it okay to hunt them. Well, they eliminated them. They hunted them till they got the very last one. And it's a wolf-free zone in that area of Idaho. There were none to be seen. Okay. And then they found out that there was an overabundance of the animals that the wolves used to feed on in the wild. That was also becoming a problem. So now they were stuck with an even bigger problem because they eliminated the wolf. So they had big meetings about it, and they had forum discussions, and the whole town, the whole city came together. They said, hey, we need to reintroduce these animals because we didn't see this coming, and yeah, we kind of screwed up. So they did. They reintroduced a wolf pack, one pack, and flourished. The wolves flourished. They had lots of wolves fairly quickly. When I say fairly quickly, within a couple years, there were a good deal of wolves out. Okay. Well, that's wonderful. Except what ended up happening was pretty soon they were faced with the same problem they started with again. And they were literally, at the time we were having the discussion, and why it was so upsetting to her and to me, is that they were trying to determine, they were going to vote on whether it was okay to go ahead and start hunting them again, right? And so, but as to, not be in the same problem that they started with, which was, they were overrun. They were going to make it so, they were going to only be able to, hunt so many at a time per year. And you had to get, special licensing. And then, you only take, but the thing was, they're like, okay, but if we're going to do that, then we have to make sure that we have the right number of males and females, or we're going to end up, hunting them to extinction again, which totally eliminated the point. So what was upsetting to the college girl that was living with us is that, she said, I just don't understand. Why is it when you reintroduce the population of wolves, then you get angry at them and want to kill them for doing what wolves do, what you knew they did before you reintroduced them? So, we had a lot of talks about it because, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the utter disregard for the fact that these are living beings that you're playing with in and out of the area. And you really only have them in there because they were doing you a service, which you didn't realize until you had killed them all to extinction and they were gone. And then you had to reintroduce them from somewhere else. And they went, okay, so they adapted. They did what animals do. And now you want to go ahead and let people go out and shoot them again. I just, yeah, not a whole lot of sense to be made there. So, yeah, it was a hard time. And ultimately, we didn't continue to, because I was afraid for her mental health. So I said, what, we're not going to follow this story anymore. We're not going to. You're not there. We're not there. We're not going to do that because I really was worried that, she was not going to be able to handle it no matter what the decision was. So we just didn't focus on it. So I don't know what the ultimate outcome was, but it seems odd that the considerations before bringing in the pack wouldn't have, been more readily discussed. You know what I mean? Like, nobody stopped to think, well, what happens if we bring them back and, there gets to be too many of them? Like, what's the plan going to be? Should they maybe have brought in a mated pair and after X amount of litters, they tranquilized and, spayed or neutered somebody? Like, what's so that there wouldn't be too many and there would be enough food for them and they wouldn't come inland? Like, you know what I mean? It seems like there should have been more conversation about it before reintroducing a pack and then getting mad because they behave like a pack behaves. I mean, yeah. So that was a very unfortunate situation to have happen. So anyway, that was the situation there. So I guess the moral of the story is, think ahead a little bit about what is the possible outcome of this. I mean, one of the reasons that U.S. Fish and Wildlife have their job is because they're supposed to monitor. And when they give out hunting licenses, they are very upfront about the fact, hey, this is how many that you can take of this species. You can only take males, or you can only take females, or whatever it is. And so, you know, they try to keep a balance and avoid some of the problems that come with over or under population. Now, do all people abide by those? No, unfortunately they do not. And so sometimes that's an issue. And then somebody loses their hunting license or goes to jail, or both, because they overdid it. Here in California, we monitor that very, very carefully because we have to ensure that we have sea life in the right balance. So that makes it interesting. And we see firsthand what pollution does to these poor animals. We have a town here about half hour away that, you know, they get zombie seals. That's what they're calling it, zombie seal disease. And they were trying to figure out what happened because they were behaving in a very odd way, and then they would ground themselves, and then ultimately they would die. And everybody was trying to figure out, well, what is happening? Why is this a thing? And then come to find out that it was a particular type of algae that, when mixed with the pollution, it's called red algae, was causing this neurological damage. When the seals would eat the algae, then they would get this illness, and they would do these bizarre things, and then they would ultimately die. So we've, you know, tried to come up with treatments for the water when that particular algae is out of control and growing at faster rates, which again is pollution dependent. So, you know, it depends year to year. It's not the same every year, which is why we're really happy to know that we have marine biology people that are located down here, so that when things like this happen, they can act. It's just like when seals get caught in nets or in other human debris, and, you know, are risking injury and will ultimately die if they can't get free of the trash. You know, they go out and they get them and they free them up. They give them a health check, make sure they've had plenty to eat, and then they return them to the wild. So it's a full-time job around here. So, you know, they monitor year round. They monitor when it's time for the whale migration. Yes, you can go out and do whale watching exhibition. They're very fun. I've taken a couple. We like to be able to see them when they pass through. We're also very careful to steer clear of anything that would be disruptive to them. So, you know, it's very, they're very important to us, and so we try to be very careful about it. We occasionally have somebody go rogue, and then, you know, they have to be arrested, and it's a whole thing. But, you know, we're proud of our wildlife, and a lot of them around here, because people do feed them, get a little overly friendly, and that always worries me because not everybody is a good human being. And so when they, you know, 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 12 people feed them, and then one will, you know, lure them over to kill them, that nothing angers me more than that. I have to tell you, it just absolutely frosts me. I can't stand it when people do that. So, you know, we try to do whatever we can to maintain the pH balance of the water the way it's supposed to be. And that takes different chemicals, different years, depending on what's blooming, what's not blooming, you know, how the seaweed is growing, how the fish hatcheries are maintaining. Like, there's always things to be considered every year. But, you know, we try to make sure, like, we know that our sea turtles are really, they've been bouncing on endangered lists for a long time. And, you know, and our whales, you know, sometimes will struggle because their gestation is a very long time also. So, and they usually have one, sometimes two, but rarely. Usually it's one calf at a time. So you could really eliminate several pods in a big hurry that cannot replenish for a long time. So, Yeah, they're pretty strict out here about granting any kind of hunting licenses, and you better know the rules. And if you don't, you have to take a test until you do, and you can pass it, and then they will give you the license. And you better not go the way that you're not supposed to. And they will monitor and check. And they pop out at any place they allow fishing sites. You'll see Fish and Wildlife pull up and walk over and count anything that you've got. And if you have too many crabs, or you have, you know, this, that, or the next thing you're not supposed to, they'll literally pull it right out of your bucket and throw it back in the water. So, and then they will fine you, and that'll be that, and you lose your license. Yeah, not a lot of extra chances around here either, because there's too much at risk. We as human beings need ocean life. So yeah, we can't be real dumb about this. We have to do what we have to do. So yep, they will come and get you if they feel the need. So I'm happy to report we don't have too much trouble with that. Not a lot of violators. And if somebody does violate it, word gets around, and they get blacklisted. And if anybody sees them in an area they're not supposed to be, they get reported, and out they come to take them out of the situation or put them in jail or whatever they think they need to do. So yeah, it's something we try to do to protect our coastline, make sure our marine life is healthy and happy and doing what it needs to do. So, which makes it really fun to go to the beach, because you get to see things and see wildlife that you don't always get to see. So that's really fun. We have dolphins that, you know, they tend to follow along into the same areas during the whale migration. And so you see them, you'll often see a whale will breach, and then you'll see 3 or 4 dolphins come up right after that and do their thing. And that's the cutest thing. I just love it. So much fun to see them doing what they're supposed to do in their natural habitat. And I mean, it can be full of surfers. Like, you can see surfers every 20 feet, you know, just past the shoreline out there, and nope, they don't bother them. They don't get into tussles with them, nothing. Now, we have, especially in the last decade or so, had a few more shark attacks than we like, especially the Santa Barbara area, which I find kind of interesting. I'm not really sure why that's the area. It's a weird place for that to occur, because it's not a very big area, for one. So that's interesting, and it's more of an kind of a bay type situation. There's not a lot of free traffic flowing for marine life there, but they come, and then they occasionally they'll chew on somebody, and then you're like, what the heck happened here? And then there's a big investigation, and then they try to figure out what the situation was. And because it seems to be random, there's not a lot of, you know, it's not a pattern, it's not episodic, it's not really cyclic, it just occasionally happens. And that's probably the most maddening part, because we're like, what is going on? We can't even, if you can't find a pattern, then it's hard to stop it from happening, you know what I mean? Now, if there are a lot of dorsal fins being seen from the shore, then they'll post, hey, no swimming until further notice, till we know that they're gone from the area. Now, does that mean that people always obey that? No, they do not. Do they sometimes have to end up being shark hors d'oeuvres? Sometimes they do, because they don't think the rules apply to them. And I will not get started on how those people make me feel. But anyway, so that's kind of what goes on around here. But we take it very seriously out here. And any time that, you know, something washes ashore and it shouldn't have, oh, that's really hard. Especially if they can't save it. It's really hard, because you're like, what happened here, and why? Why did they ground themselves? Or did something chase them up here? Like, what happened? Why is this animal here? And so then that's always heartbreaking, and then it's in every paper, and then you have to pay attention. They tell you, you know, all the wildlife experts say, hey, you know, if you're on the beach and you see something beach itself, please call this number so we can come out and see if we can save it, da-da-da-da-da. So, you know, but that's part of having, you know, ocean life out here is, you know, you're either working to their benefit you're kind of working against them. And so, and there's not a lot of tolerance for people working against them, just so you know. Yeah, you're really a lone wolf out there. Oh, see, wolf. You're really a lone wolf or a rogue person if you're out here trying to do damage, because nope. And I mean, really, they're really good. Now, we have people that are fishermen by trade, and they're very good about obeying, you know, what they're allowed to take and what they're not. So, you know, lobster season comes along and they go in to renew their fishing licenses, and they go, you know, here's this year, here's the total, which if you're a commercial fisherman is a little different than if you're a private fisherman. You know, here's how many you can take. Don't think we're not going to come out and see you and count, because we will. And we know that we've told you. So yeah, don't make it harder on yourself. So yeah, it's pretty much set in stone. And as long as you obey that, no problem. Everybody gets along fine. And then if you don't obey that, well, that's a problem then, for sure. So that's how it works out here. I don't know. Are any of you guys in an area that has sea life kind of naturally? And if so, what are the rules around where you guys live? Let me know in the comments, because I find that interesting how different areas handle that situation. So yeah. What are your Christmas plans, everybody? Are you staying home? Are you hosting? Are you going out? You traveling? What are you doing? Are you going to have to, God forbid, deal with the airport? Like, what's the plan for you? What are you doing? If you are traveling, please be safe. Please, please be safe. I can't even imagine. Traveling has become such a total nightmare. It's just really sad. But I'm hoping for all of you, if you are traveling, very safe travels, and that you get where you're going with no problem, and that you'll get to see your loved ones and enjoy the holiday. And if you have loved ones coming in by flight, I hope they're okay too, and everything goes smoothly, and you can pick them up and get them back to wherever you're spending the holiday, and lots of hugs and kisses are going to ensue, and lots of good food will be had. And yeah, it's a wonderful holiday for you guys. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's so much, you guys. It's just crazy to me that, you know, when Thanksgiving is late in the month of November, and there's less than a month between Thanksgiving and Christmas like there is this year, it hurts my head, because I'm like, you know, I need those extra couple weeks in there. Come on. But not to be had this time. So yeah, we're just gonna be hanging out all by our lonesomes, 3 of us. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I haven't decided what I want to do for my birthday yet. I think I want to have dinner and a movie. That's my plan. So hopefully that'll be a thing. Avatar Fire and Ash is going to be out on my birthday, because it comes out the 19th. I'm like, yeah, let's get tickets for that. And then so we'll go out. What I'd like to do is see that, you know, in matinee, and then go out to dinner afterwards would be my preference. But you know, if we go before and then we eat after, I'm okay with that too. But I think that's what my plan is going to be. There's also A Christmas Carol is going to be playing at one of our community theaters, and that is my absolute most favorite Christmas story. So I usually watch the movie starting on December 1st, and I watch it every day through the 24th, until Christmas. And so my husband laughs, because I know my favorite version is the George C. Scott as Ebenezer Scrooge version, although I like all the versions. There's none that I don't like. So, you know, I like the one with Patrick Stewart as Scrooge. I like the one with Henry Winkler as Scrooge. Like, I like all of them, but George C. Scott version is my favorite. I think because I like the way he sells the character, because he is just so terrible, and then his redemption, you can see the pain, and then, you know, he becomes such a good person. I just love that whole situation. So yeah, and I know the dialogue verbatim, so it always makes Neil laugh, because I'll be sitting there and I'll be saying each line, you know, a split second ahead of the the cast saying it, and he just laughs. So, but yeah, because I love it that much. Again, it's my favorite. Yeah, and you know, for my birthday, my mother always took me to see the Nutcracker. I think she liked it more than I did, but I liked going with her and celebrating my birthday with her. And she did. She literally celebrated. She made sure no matter where we were in the world, we were always together on my birthday. Yeah, I miss her. My dad, too. She passed in 2012. And my dad passed in 2023. But honestly, most of him passed when she passed. They had been married 53 years at the time of her passing. And he spent those 11 years in absolute grief and mourning. I mean, so bad that I actually said, you know, Dad, why don't you come with me? Why don't you come and, you know, talk to this therapist? And, you know, I'll go with you. And, you know, he would not hear of it, period. You know, he came from a time where there was a stigma surrounding mental health. And I just could not get him to go. I tried. I wanted him to go, but yeah, he just wouldn't. So, and he had, you know, friends, and he went out periodically with friends, but, and there were women, he lived in a senior citizen park, and there were women trying to cougar him right and left. I mean, it was kind of unbelievable. And he absolutely would not go. So he figured he had one love of his life, and that was that. So what can you do? And yeah, and then when he got dementia, God, it was just so terrible. What that disease does to people just makes me furious. I mean, it just really does. There is absolutely just no excuse why we can't seem to figure out what to do about it so that it doesn't take away their memories, you know? Because, you know, you get to a point and that's mostly what you have left, right? So when they take those away, it's horrible. Kind of hoping that, you know, in my son's lifetime, hopefully they will figure out how to cure that so that it doesn't get to, your brain doesn't get to neurologically start to die off while you're still living, you know? I really feel like we're very close to being able to do that. And we probably would have done it already if there wasn't so much money in dementia. That's just really the reality of it. There's so much money in dementia. Ugh. So the people who could make the cures are like, well, wait a minute, we're making so much money off of, you know, the different medications and caregiving and assisted living, and look all this that we're doing, which infuriates me too, because what it does to people is unconscionable. So we will get off that subject now, because I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. But yeah, I miss them. I miss them every day. Our family used to be very much, I mean, we were the crazy, you know, holiday family on the block. Like We had decorations like the day after Halloween, we had decorations, and the day after Thanksgiving, our tree was up. And, you know, we used to go up to the mountains and get our tree. Like all my childhood, we did that. Really until my parents couldn't go up there anymore. And then we kind of decided maybe we could just do artificial trees and skip the allergies, skip the bugs, skip the pine needles. Let's just, you know. And so we just kind of all started doing that. But yeah, we used to, every year we would go up, and it was so much fun. So yeah, picking out just the right one. Yeah. And we had decorations that were just ridiculous. The poor people that lived across from us. Yeah, we had a bunch. I mean, we tried to have tasteful ones. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, an eyesore or gaudy or, you know, one giant fluorescent light show. Like, that wasn't it. You know, but we always had pretty much, not every square inch of the yard, but most of it was decorated. And the house always had lights on it. And you could always hear Christmas carols playing on the player piano. My dad singing. My dad had a beautiful baritone voice, which I loved listening to. And I was an alto, so, you know, he always made me sing with him, which I really appreciated later in my life. Wasn't that thrilled about it as a teenager. I'm like, oh my God, Dad, like, seriously? He was like, well, I won't kill you, which is true. But yeah, he always made sure, because he loved music, and he always made sure there was music playing, always. And now, one of the things that, if we can get this stupid roof taken care of, you know, that player piano is in a storage unit. And another thing I miss. But I took it, and as many of the piano rolls as I could feasibly keep in my house, which are stored with it. But I will get it into this house if I can make sure. I didn't want to bring it in here until I knew whether or not we were going to get a roof or whether we were going to have to move. Because I thought, if I have to move, I'm not moving it in here and then moving it out too. Like, that just isn't going to be a thing. So, but now if we can get the roof dealt with when it's finished, then I'll probably hire a piano mover and move it in here. And there it will be till my demise, and then my kids will have to figure out what they want to do with it. So, but yeah. But yeah, we always had just, it was such a beautiful and fun time in our family, and my mother was just giddy. She was just like a little kid. The only time of year where she just gave into it, you know. She was just like, you know, oh, it's almost Christmas. Yeah, she was so cute about it, and she just would, you know, she was the spirit of Christmas. And that's what we called her, so. Getting used to trying to have Christmas without her around has been really hard. But, you know, we did okay for a while. And then when the kids moved out and my dad passed, and now it's just us, and it's just a little too quiet in here to suit me, if you want to know the truth. But, you know, the new normal is the new normal. So, that's what it is. But, you know, plus having to, you know, become a year older right before Christmas, that's always interesting too. But, yeah. But honestly, I really love that. And it would be hard for me to have a birthday any other time of the year, because it's such a great time to have a birthday, you know, because everything is decorated. and people are nice to each other, and everybody's reminiscing and getting ready to spend time together and thinking about the year that they've had, and you know, the people they love getting together. It's just a really nice time to have a birthday. So I don't know if all of my fellow Sagittarius feel that way. You guys can weigh in. How do you feel about having your birthday in December or late November, whenever your Sagittarius birthday is? I think it's fun. I've always thought it was fun. Now, yeah, growing up I couldn't have a swim party. That's true, which was okay. Had lots of bowling parties, lots of pizza parties, lots of going to the movies and slumber parties. And that was always fun. And now I go to the movies and go to the dinner, and then we're going to come home and have cake and ice cream and get ready for Santa. So all in all, it's a really nice time to have a birthday. So yeah, that's happening. So what are you guys doing? Don't forget to let me know in the comments. Did you ask Santa for something special this year? I always struggle with that a little bit because, you know, I mean, it's not terribly hard. I mean, I'm a crafter, and you guys know, like, any of you would be happy with a diamond painting. Who are you kidding? We all would. Or a gift certificate to a craft store, or, you know, any one of 1,000 crafting type things. So yeah. But as far as specific things, I mean, I've been a crafter for so long that I really have everything I need. Like, there's really nothing major that I need I don't already have. Unless, you know, it's better to have, like, you know, like a gift certificate where I can replenish my supplies, because that's always a thing. Now, that being said, I do have an Amazon wish list, which I clean up usually in November, so that if anybody is wondering what I need, it's always on there, like you can tell. And then I usually, you know, tell my brother, hey, because he usually says, well, what do you want? And I'm like, oh, okay, here's the invite to my Amazon list, take your pick. And then he can look at it, and it's easier for both of us. But this year I do have things on it, like I have a couple pairs of shoes, of tennis shoes that I want. So they're on there. And I have a couple diamond paintings on it. And a couple other things, some sets of glitter, you know, stuff like that. Those kind of things I always need and I always like. And so, yeah, not hard to buy for. Really not hard to buy for. Now, some people, like my brother, oh, so hard to buy for. Because, you know, he's a lawyer. His wife is a lawyer. And if he wants something, he just gets it. There's no list to be had. He just buys it. You know, and they usually don't do much for each other. There's usually just a few things they get for each other because they travel every year. Their anniversary and his birthday both fall in September. So they take a trip to celebrate both. So that's what they usually spend their money on. They don't, you know, worry a lot about Christmas. And then they usually spend it. My brother comes by, brings gifts, and we give him his gifts. And then they spend it with his mother-in-law, who is also a dear friend of mine. This year probably not going to happen because she is she's in a convalescent hospital, and I don't know that she'll ever go back home. So I don't know what they're going to do this year. That's kind of, I guess, up in the air. But I'll be talking to him, you know, by halfway in the month, so I'll know one way or the other what's going to happen. So, yeah. And then Christmas comes around, and Jared, you know, is still, I won't say he believes in Santa, but we try to keep Santa Claus alive, and he tries to play along with it because, you know, we like that he can look forward to something on Christmas Day. And, you know, why not? Like, that's not the worst thing you could do, is keep it alive. Now, he's turning 30 in March. I don't know how much longer he'll do it, but he knows if you ask him, Jared, what happens when you stop believing in Santa Claus? He'll tell you straight across, you get socks and underwear for Christmas. So he's already prepared. So yeah, so we just go, which is helpful to me because, you know, he starts pointing stuff out that he wants in like October. And I go, you know what? You better tell Santa. So, you know, he has time to get that. So, you know, it's that kind. So he makes a list, and then I take the list and I send it to Santa every year. And then that gives me a chance to, you know, do what needs to be done. So yeah, it's okay. It works out. So I always worried that somebody at school would tell him, hey, there's no such thing. But, you know, he's pretty good at justifying his position. And, you know, if somebody says, nah, it's, you know, it's your mom or your dad, he'll go, just because you haven't seen Santa doesn't mean he's not real. Okay, well, you know what? If he has logic you can't argue with, okay, I'm all right with that. I see no reason to kill off yet another hero for children. So many of them have been killed off that, you know, why make everything harder for them? They're going to find out soon enough that the world is hard. They don't need to know every single situation. Like, just give them a little bit of, you know, wonder and awe from time to time. Nothing is sadder to me or more sad than a cynical child. It's very, very sad to see that. Usually it's kids that have seen too much of life already. When I was a CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate for the county I live in, and I worked with foster children, talk about cynical children. It's heartbreaking because, you know, they have way too defined a sense of reality, theirs and everyone else's, because they have no choice. They have to live in it. And when you're not in your home with the people who are supposed to love and protect you, there's nothing more rough than that when you're a kid. So yeah, so yes, and I stayed as the CASA program for 6 years, and yeah, it was quite an experience. So, and my little CASA cuties keep in touch with me, which I appreciate now that they are, you know, adults with families of their own. So yeah, they've done very, very well, and I am so happy for them. But yeah, I mean, some of the tragic stories are just, oh my God, are so terrible. So, and if you don't know what a CASA is, court-appointed special advocates are volunteers that give the children in dependency court a voice. So, in other words, you know, the parents are assigned, you know, an attorney if they need one, and county council comes in and they represent the social workers and what the plan is in that situation. And then they make a determination on these families, whether or not the kids will ever get to go home, or whether, you know, they need to terminate the rights of the parents so they can adopt the children out. Believe me when I tell you, sometimes that is the exact right thing to do. And so, you know, all of those things are decided there. Well, you know, when everybody has an agenda, it makes it hard on the judges, because they're like, you know, there's an awful lot of conflicting stories here. And so they decided that, you know, these kids need to have a voice. Just because they're kids doesn't mean that they don't have a voice. Now, the foster parents speak for them, but sometimes they're not the ones that really need to do that either, especially if they've got way too many foster kids, and most of them do because placements are so limited. They're not always the best ones. And so the judges themselves can say, you know what, I want a CASA appointed to this child. And if that happens, then Their case gets referred to the CASA program, which is, again, court-appointed special advocates. And then if you are a CASA, you go through the training, and you can go in and look at the files, and you get matched with a foster child, and then you get to know them. You have to see them a minimum of an hour a week, and you write a report when it comes time for their hearings to happen. And then you are their voice. And what's nice is, because you're a volunteer, which makes you unusual, nobody's paying you to go. So, like, county council, they're being paid to go. It's their job, and they have an agenda. And social services have an agenda. And the parents and their attorney also an agenda. And so, so the CASA goes in, and after they all have their say, then the judge says, would the CASA like to be heard? And you can either say, no, Your Honor, I have nothing to add at this time, or, I agree with so-and-so, or no, this child should never be returned, or yes, there needs to be a family unification plan for this child to return. And there's a lot of factors that go into all of that. So, which one of those it is depends on a lot of different things. I always said, yes, thank you, Your Honor, I would like to be heard. And I always said it the way I saw it, which often angered social services, and that's fine. They can be angry. But my job was to tell the judge on the child's behalf what nobody else in the room was saying about this child, what they needed, why they needed it, what, in my opinion, I thought was going to happen if it didn't happen and they were not provided with the service. If I thought the school was not doing right by them, because the school knows that foster kids are not monitored that closely, and they tried to get away with unbelievable stuff. So, I would go, yeah, we have real serious issues here, and we need to transfer the child's educational rights to someone else. So the judge took us very, very seriously, because we were the ones with the child themselves, and it was our responsibility to get to know them and know what they needed. And so we did that. And so, much to the chagrin of so many people, we would just put it out there. Here it is. So, and I was very close to my little CASAs. So, I call them my CASA cuties. So, that to me, I got in it to try to do something good for these kids, to kind of pass on what was done for my own children, at various times when they were, we were all going through the adoption triad process. And so I wanted to do that. But what I found out is they did so much more for me than I did for them. So, yeah, so that was kind of a lot. So, but I love the fact that, I'm in contact. She, the one I was with the longest, she just had her 4th baby. She now has 2 boys and 2 girls. She's raising 3 of them. One of them, she lost custody to that child's father. So that's probably going to be, a reckoning someday, I'm sure. But anyways, she's got her 3, and she raises a niece of hers that has autism, pretty profoundly. And, it's actually good that she's with her. And she watched me go to bat for her. She was 11 years old when I started with her, and she was almost 17 before I finished with her. And so she watched me go to bat for her with the schools. She watched me, go to bat for her with a lot of people. We had a lot of very hard talks that came out of, sometimes these kids will tell you stuff just wow, and you have to be prepared and you have to stay ahead of it. So it takes a little doing, but it was quite a time. Some of those memories I relish every day. So anyway, but now she's happy. She married the father of this last one. So yay. And she's about to turn 30 in January. So yeah, that was a lot. Anyway, that was just a whole lot of stuff to put on you, but we have been now talking over an hour. So I'm going to let you go here in a minute. I just want to say, please, please, please get your pictures in of your canvases by tomorrow night, please, because tomorrow is the 30th. And I really, 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 really want you to be in the final WIP Parade, because I want you to see what everybody's been working on. It's been phenomenal. And other than that, we are going to start another new week here. We're about to start a new month. Be on the lookout for the kickoff video for the Our Better Angels event. And we will get that off and running here just as soon as we can. You're going to have to give me a little bit of grace, you guys, because back-to-back events is not a good idea. So any creators that are thinking about doing it, don't, because it's hard to shuffle all that. Anyway, so get ready for that. And I hope that you enjoy what's left of your Thanksgiving weekend and you're getting ready for Christmas or the holiday that you celebrate, and that you're looking forward to some good times, because these are hard times we're going through. So take every little bit of joy that you can. Whatever you take joy in, please do it. Spend some time every day doing something that fills up your heart and your soul just a little bit, because we got to keep our sanity, guys, and sometimes it's really hard. All right, Dragonites. I want to thank Dragonite Mike Weeks again for the beautiful canvas. Thank you, Mike. I love it. It's beautiful, and I can't wait to work on it. And I'm so impressed that you found one I did not have already. Wow. You don't know what a feat that is at this point, because whoo. All right, guys. Wonderful rest of your weekend. Have a great start to your week and to your new month coming in here really quickly. Time is just, whoo, just flowing along. And I look forward to seeing all your completions or near completions wherever you are by tomorrow evening. Take that pic and get it over to Diamond Painting with Friends 2.0. There is an area now for week 4 posting. Please put them in there. If you've already done a completion, I probably have it, but if you want to make sure that I do have it and you want to put it in that week 4 where it's easy for me to pull it from, I would appreciate that. That would be fantastic. And I hope that you guys just had a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, and that you're looking forward to a really happy Christmas, and that you got lots of hugs and kisses and snuggles by your family members. And don't forget, for Christmas, don't forget your pets. Give them a little cute something, because, you know, they're loyal all year long. They need a little cute something in their stocking or under the tree. All right, everybody. So again, please post your Luna and Lycans pictures in Diamond Painting with Friends 2.0. The link to the Facebook group will be in the description. And when you start with the Better Angels event, those go in Dragonite's Lair, which will also be in the description. So don't get confused. November, Luna and Lycans, Diamond Painting with Friends 2.0. Better Angels for December, Dragonite's Lair. Okay? Any questions? Leave it in the comment section. My email and Instagram are always in the description box. So if you need to reach me, you can. And thank you guys for your participation in this event. This was a really fun one. I had a little bit of hesitation at the beginning, but it worked out fine. Thank you very much. And I enjoyed seeing all of your canvases. You guys are so amazing. You really are. And it was funny because I happened to be looking and I lost 6 subs. I don't know what happened. 6 people just left. I thought, okay, whatever. But it was kind of funny. And I thought, how interesting that that's where it goes. So yeah, don't know why, but you know, whatever. So anyway, let me know if there is some other type of event that you guys would like to see. I am working on getting another dragon event because I want to make sure that we have at least one dragon event every year, Dragonites. This channel needs to host a dragon event every year. So I'm going to be trying to work with a co-host. I need to get a hold of her and see what that's about. And hoping that she might be able to share the WIP and chats. Maybe we'll do every other week so that, you know, this month especially is hard because holiday. So be on the lookout for that. Don't forget, also, we have the next event after December will not be until April. The ones that are already set. So the first one in April is going to be Walk Like an Egyptian. That's all your Egyptian themed canvases. Now next month during Our Better Angels, I will be giving away a canvas in the giveaways that is suitable for that event. So if you don't already have one and you would like to participate, be on the lookout because you could win the canvas. I have a Diamond Dots Egyptian canvas that I think would be great. So if you are looking to do one, there will be one available here. And that's just one of the things. So, all right, everybody. Winners of the prize drawing for this event, your items have been sent to you. You should have received your tracking information already. If not, you can let me know. But they should be there and they should be getting to you by early this coming week. So again, you can check that tracking anytime and see where your package is in transit. So if there's a problem, you can let me know. Otherwise, just let me know when you receive it and we will move on to the next event. Okay, Dragonites, big hugs, big squeezes to all of you. Thank you so much for your participation, for being such awesome subs. You don't know, I brag on you guys all the time. It's kind of silly, but I do. I brag on you guys all the time. Interestingly enough, I did have to boot somebody off of a video. This is only the 4th one in 2 years that I had to do that to. But yeah, they were clearly not a Dragonite. They were somebody that, you know, was a passerby and came in and thought they would, you know, start problems by saying that I was putting out misinformation from a 1.5 years ago on how to seal a diamond painting. And I had to correct them and then I booted them out. So yeah, because there is no false information. If I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know something. And if something that I post is true at the time and then becomes not true a year later, then I'll let you know that. And if you still want to come at me, you're done. You're out of here. Bye. So that happened. I just laughed. I couldn't help it because I thought, wow, you're an idiot. You couldn't tell the date here. It says over 1 year ago right on it. Like, hello. Interestingly enough, it was about Diamond Art Club's warranty. So that was interesting too. Anyway, long story short, you guys, the Dragonites are a fantastic group. And, you know, I adore all of you. New subbies, welcome aboard. I hope you stay. You know, let me know if there's some kind of subject matter that you would like to have unraveled or unfolded here on this channel regarding diamond painting, and I will try to do something about that. Tried and true subbies, thank you for being here. I adore all of you. I love all your comments because it's so much fun to see what you guys are up to. All right, everybody. Big hugs. And remember, always be a dragon. Spread your wings. Protect those you love. Have fiery passion. Stay strong, slay your fears, and always fly high, rise up, and soar. Dragonites rule. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day and weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.